tag your friends, and tell them that we have started and we need them to get on board ASAP. Please go to the group, tag your friends, tell them to get on board that we are about to start, that we have started. Go to the group, tell your friends, let them know. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm on the group and I can't see anybody doing anything. I see Coach Temi typing on the group. Talk about energy. Yes, yes, yes. If you're on the group and you're on the call, go to the group chat, tag your favorite people and tell them that we have started. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay? We don't intend to waste our time because we never have. We leave here at most 7:30, 7:25, 7:45. And we leave here very packed. We leave here with information. We leave here ready to upskill, ready to take our lives and decisions to the next level with so much value. Okay? All right. Moving on, whilst we are waiting for people, but we can't exactly wait for everybody. We must start gaining the value that we intend to gain from this particular session. Once again, good evening, everybody. And today we're talking about own your space, building a personal brand that opens doors. Building a personal brand that opens doors. Before further ado, we're going to be taking the welcome address from our convener, Dr. Dekumbi Wuraola. Mommy, please unmute yourself and deliver your welcome address. Please, let's celebrate her as she takes over.
Good evening, everyone. I trust you're fine. I trust you're all good. It's a rainy evening in the city of Lagos right now where I am. So let me start off by hoping that we're all keeping warm during this raining season. Today is a special day because we are having two for the price of one, if you let me say that. It's also a special day because we're having our own persons, speak to us on this monthly conversation series. And I'm not going to take so much of your time. All of us, especially in recent times, have found out that your personal branding, your statement, your perception of what people perceive about you is really important because that also determines and defines your next level. People have whatever perception they have about you would determine how they will interface with you in work, in business, in personal life, and everything. And so today we have two great resources who are living the talk, who have their own brand story that you can't check any of your social media pages and not find them. And I'm not saying branding is only about social media, but who are also walking the talk. And so we have Temi and Temi. That's another special. Male Temi and female Temi. And they're going to share with us how we can have that personalized brand story. And it's not just for a now. If 10, 20 years from today, if our grandchildren were to, for some reason, come across something about us, they should be proud of what it is. And so thank you to the two Tamies for giving us this opportunity of their time, of their talents. I'm really eagerly waiting. I have my notepad and my pen with me, and I'm hoping to take lots of notes from this. I would also say that please, can we have this recorded? Okay, yes, so it's recorded so that we can always go back to reference it. Thank you very much, warm ladies. Thank you for our guests, and special happy Father's Day to the man in the house and any other man who is joining us. For those who are men, who are fathers, we wish you a beautiful Father's Day. It's the day slowly coming to an end, but I know that it must have been a very great day for you. And for some of us who have no fathers, this is a time where, we get all teary-eyed and all of that, thinking about how we miss our father. And but we also have people who are in the position. So fatherhood is not only biological. So please, if you haven't, make a shout out to someone. Either, I mean, I know your biological father, you probably have already done that, but your adopted or people who play the role of fathers in your lives, please shout out to them and thank them for that role they are playing and wish them a happy Father's Day. And with that, I yield the floor back to you, Nalu, our moderator for today's session. And I look forward to an exciting time with Temi and Timmy as they pour out and give us this brand story. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dekumbi Wuraola. Once again, it's always a delight to hear you speak. I don't know, but the way you enunciate, the way you pick your words, the way you mention things that some of us overlook, I love that about you. So thank you so much for that beautiful speech. And when I think about it, we really have Temi and Temi as our speakers for today. Maybe the Lord or the universe has something they want to give us this week. Because think about it, our speakers today are both Temis. So maybe we're having double portion of everything for the rest of the week and the rest of our lives. I'm looking forward to that. So moving on, for us to get this show on the road, like mommy said, get your pens out, get everything ready, and let's get this show on the road. All right. Each speaker has about 30 minutes to speak. I'll be introducing the first speaker, but first of all, her bio. Temilola Ajayi is a development professional and social impact leader with over 5 years of experience spanning public sector administration, international development projects, and nonprofit leadership. She currently serves with the Rural Access and Agricultural Marketing Project, a World Bank-supported initiative in Ekiti State, where she provides high-level administration coordination, stakeholder engagement, and project support within complex multi-partner environments. As the founder of the Temilola Ajayi Foundation for Women and Children, she leads programs focused on women's empowerment, youth development, and community-based economic inclusion. Through initiatives such as the Oremi Initiative and annual outreach programs, she has mobilized resources, built strategic partnerships, and delivered capacity building interventions that equip women, particularly widows, single mothers, elderly women, young adolescent girls, and persons with disabilities with practical skills and entrepreneurial opportunities. Her professional strengths include policy and partnership coordination, program administration, stakeholder communication, and systems organization. She operates at the intersection of governance and grassroots impact, translating institutional frameworks into tangible community outcomes. Temilola's work is defined by structured leadership, social accountability, and a commitment to sustainable development that strengthens both systems and people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker for today, Temilola Ajayi. Good evening, ma. Please, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Please, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Special good evening to my dear mom. I call her mommy, Dr. Adekunbi Wuraola. And to the WAM coordinators, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come and speak on monthly conversation series. And to all my sisters on the call, my dear brother, my namesake, Temi, Coach Temi. Good evening, everyone. I want to say that I'm excited because we have a room that is full of women. And the fact that we have lots of women on this call means that women love to show up for themselves. And I'm really glad to be here today. Um, I'm Temilola Ajayi, and I must tell you, I am a lady who wear many hats. I'm a social safeguard officer. I am an NGO founder. At the same time, I'm still going to school. I'm the director of policy and partnership for WAM. And I'm not saying all these things to try to showcase myself or to impress you. No, but I'm telling you because tonight we'll be talking about personal branding. And personal branding is the thread that ties all these identities that I have mentioned together. So I know that we have women on this call who are wearing many hats and do not even know who they really are. So tonight we'll be getting clarity. Tonight we'll be learning. I'm also going to be learning. And like we said, this is a conversation series. So we'll all be talking as one family. So I'm going to start with our topic says that own your space, building a personal brand that opens door. Please, at any point when you cannot hear me, please kindly let me know. Thank you. So I'm going to first of all start by saying that when we talk about personal brand, like mommy Dr. Kumbi mentioned earlier, there are a lot of people just feel that it's about their presence on social media. We think about content creators, we think about influencers, and we think about people who have thousands of followers on social media platforms, and we see that as personal branding. But it goes beyond that. Personal branding is very deep, I must say. It's actually what people think when your name comes up in a room where you are not present. For instance, when you go online, let me just cite a practical example. Like, have you ever tried as a young person who wants to know so much about what's happening around her? Have you ever tried Googling yourself, like typing your name on Google, like just say, for instance, Temilola Ajayi, you know, and see what you have there. For instance, if I type mommy's name now, if I say Dekunbi Wural, I'm going to see a whole lot of stuff about her and the things that she's doing. So when we talk about personal brand, it simply means what people think of you when your name comes up in a room where you are not present. But before we go deep into personal brand, I would like to first of all talk about what it means to own your space. Now, when we talk about owning your space, it means that you need to know your value. You need to learn how to use your voice. You need to be visible for right reasons. You need to refuse to shrink, you know, because of fear. You need to own yourself. You need to know who you are. You need to own yourself. That is what it means to own your space. Because a lot of women out there, a lot of young women are very talented, but they seems to be invisible because they've not learned to own their space. We have seen so many women in different sectors in the country, even outside the country, that are competent, but a lot of people do not know them. And sometimes when we hear their name, we are like, who is this person? You know, we have so many of them that are hardworking, even within the organizations where they find themselves, but they are being overlooked. And the reason why they are being overlooked is not because they don't want people to see them, but because they've not learned to own their space. Now, I would say that the workplace, the business world, leadership spaces, even the community development spaces where we find ourselves, they reward visibility as much as competence. So that's why you see what happens when a young lady starts doing something on TikTok, and before you know it, she has gone viral, and a lot of people are celebrating her. That's because she has been able to identify that space. Like the accountant in my office will always tell me, will say, I have a unique selling point, which I have acronymed it to be USP. So some people have discovered their unique selling points, and they've been able to use that to own the space where they find themselves. So within you this evening, I want you to ask yourself, when people hear your name today, when they mention Nalu, for instance, when they say Nalu, who is Nalu? What three words can they use to describe you as a person? Can they say, oh, Nalu is that girl? Yeah, we know Nalu. Or if anybody mentions my name and say, Temilola, what do I want people to remember when my name is being mentioned? Then the words that people say concerning you, those words, are they true? Are they true to your own person? Are they those words, do they really define you? So I need us to personally think about that in our hearts and see how we can answer that question. So now we go to personal brand. What does personal brand, what does it mean? Jeff Bezos, like I wrote down in my notes, says that your personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. I've mentioned that earlier. So your personal brand is like a total impression you leave on every person you meet. When you submit a document, when you send an email, when you even post something on social media, or for every room that you walk into, that thing that people have to say about you when you leave is your personal brand. Your personal brand is actually your reputation. So you need to make sure that you make it something intentional. Now, the difference between having a personal brand and not having one is simply this. And that is to say that it simply means that it talks about control, so to say. Are you in control of the narrative, or are you willing to leave it to chance? That's the difference between having a personal brand and not having one. So whatever thing you are doing now, are you doing it to leave a mark, or you're just doing it for the sake of living? But I want to say and encourage every young woman on this call that whatever thing that you've been doing before, and you have just been doing it just for doing sake, you need to start being intentional about doing these things. You need to start learning how to build a brand around it, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're in the community development sector, the academics, whatever sector you find yourself, whatever thing you've been doing before. I think it is high time you start learning to build a personal brand around it, so that when you are not there, people will have something to say about you. Now, your brand is built through your character. It is built through your competence. It is built through your communication. When we say your character, things like, can people trust you when you are not there? Can people say things like, oh, I trust that lady. I know that, oh, she's very confident and she can do this thing very well. Can you solve problems? That brings in competence when you talk about your brand. That's how you build brand. Then your communication, how do you speak? How do you write? Some people are known for the things that they do, how they write. Sometimes when you see some people's post on the social media, for instance, or let's just use LinkedIn as an example, you see some people write so beautifully, and that is what people know them for. And each time they come to that platform to put down something, a lot of people want to just read it because that's how they communicate their brand. Then your consistency. How consistent are you when it comes to owning your space, when it comes to building your own brand? Now, this personal brand, this personal branding we're talking about, it actually matters to us as women, especially because we are young African women who are trying to evolve, who are trying to thrive in the sectors that we find ourselves in. Because most times they've always believed that women do not just, we just like to hide ourselves. But I know that the narrative is changing now because a lot of women are doing so many beautiful things. So, and all the things that we have learned, that all the things that we have been told not to do, I see that women are trying to come out of their shell and they are doing beautifully. So we should know that as women, building our brand is not arrogance, it's actually us advocating for ourselves. So now, before I continue, I just want to chip in something personally that I feel that will help someone. Okay, so if you recall, when Nalu was reading my profile, she said something about me working on a World Bank project in Ekiti State. So you can build your brand anywhere, whether it's in Ekiti, whether it's in Lagos, Port Harcourt, if anywhere you are, just know you can always build your brand. The world is a big space. And of course, with the advent of technology, you can be seen everywhere. So I spent 7 years on this project. I've been on this project for about 7 years. And when I started as the project secretary and the administrative officer for this project. And I'll tell you, it's not something that I wanted to do, but in Nigeria, you can just see that you just find yourself in a space. And because I found myself in that space and I knew it was a place for me to grow, I made sure that I was very hardworking. Like everything I'm doing, I don't do it because I'm doing it for the job. I do it because I want to get the best of it. So initially, I would just go to work and show up every day, do my normal thing, but do my job well and then go back home. For a very long period of time, I was not thinking about building a brand around what I do. And, to think that what I do is actually the kind of job, the sector where I work is a sector where they also try to do something for rural communities. And I also have an NGO too that projects that. I was never thinking of, let me just build a personal brand, something that can showcase myself until last year when myself and my younger sister were having a conversation around branding. And then she told me that you have your NGO, you have your job, but you're not thinking of branding. And I'm like, branding? There's nothing to brand again now. Everybody knows the Mlola Ajayi Foundation. Everybody knows my work, so I don't need to brand. And she said, no, that is not it. That what happens when you are not in Temilola Ajayi Foundation, or what happens when you are not in RAMP where you work. And I sat down and thought about it for a moment. And I said, true. I need to separate who I am from the things that I do. Remember that I said I am a lady who wears many hats, and these hats are like threads that bring everything together. So from who I am, I have been able to attribute some of my characters to the jobs or the services that I provide. But it's still attributed to something, right? So it's still attributed to my NGO, or let's say one, for instance, or my job, for instance. It's not attributed to me as an individual. And a lot of us are like that. We are doing a whole lot of things. So when they check on social media, they see a whole lot of things about us, but we are not building that personal brand. So a personal brand travels with you. It is so now I know mommy, Dr. Kumbi, she writes, mommy is into a whole lot of things. But I know that mommy has a personal brand, something that is different from one. That when you see her, you will just know that one is part of it, but that's not mommy's personal brand. So you need to learn to be able to identify that unique selling point about yourself. That's that unique thing that makes you stand out, but that brings every other part of you together. So, and while doing this thing, you need to ensure that you are intentional about it. So for me, I didn't wait for someone to hand me the story. I actually decided to write my story myself. So I started my personal branding fully this year. And I have been able to create a different niche that speaks to my own person, aside from my NGO, aside from WAM, aside from my job and other things that I do. So if you are someone like me, I'll also say that you should think about something that serves as your unique selling point and start building your brand around it. So I'm going to talk about pillars of a brand that opens door. And I'm going to be quick about this. I'm going to talk about clarity. Please, am I still audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to talk about the first pillar I'm going to talk about is clarity. I've mentioned that before. You need to know who you are. Now, you cannot brand what you cannot define. Before you worry about people seeing you on Instagram, LinkedIn, you need to first of all identify yourself. You need to ask yourself questions like, who am I? What do I do best? Like, you need to know your core competencies. You need to know the things that makes you stand out. Then you need to ask yourself questions like, who do I serve and what problem do I help solve? So everybody cannot be your audience. For instance, we have WAM, and WAM is an initiative that targets young women, So you need to also sit and identify if you are producing a particular good or you're providing services, for instance, you need to identify the people whom you're serving, the kind of problem you are solving, so that you don't just do everything like generally for everyone. So for me, if you have to ask me, I would say my answer is, well, you've listened to it from my profile. I'm a social development professional and I bridge gaps between different, aspects from different sectors. So you need to think about that, and that would help you when you are updating your profiles online, when you are trying to tell people about yourself. Clarity will help you to know that thing you need to put out there. The second thing I'm going to also talk about tonight is consistency. Now, it's easy to put together things that you are very good at, but you need to learn to be consistent with it. But let me add before consistency. I would also like to say that you need to ensure that you are competent in the things that you're doing. Because if you want to solve a problem, you need to ensure that you are competent enough to do that. And you need to, for you to be able to do that, you need to learn, you need to train, you need to get certifications, you need to read, you need to know people, you need practical examples. So those are areas that you need for your competence. But I'm going to be talking about consistency, and which means that you have to show up the same everywhere. So it's like a model. You don't have to be this you don't have, like the Bible will say, you cannot be lukewarm. Is that you're hot or you are cold? So you need to show up the same everywhere, so that when people see something that signifies you or that shows who you are, they know that, okay, yes, this is Grace, this is Nalu, this is Temi, they know that, yes. So consistency is what turns your first impression into a reputation. So it means that when people check your LinkedIn profile, for instance, and you have maybe you apply to an organization, and then they check your LinkedIn profile before the interview is being conducted. The same thing that they are seeing on the LinkedIn profile is the same thing you are also saying. So you need to be consistent. Inconsistency is the number one thing that erodes trust. So if you are not consistent with your brand, if you are not consistent with whatever thing that you're doing, it's not going to help your personal branding. So there are practical ways by which you can be consistent. So you need to ensure that because personal branding also comes with professionalism. So you need to ensure that you're professional, and you need to ensure that whatever thing that you're putting out there is something that is modest, and something that can model you well. So, and it's consistency means being recognizable. It's not something that is that difficult. I know that as young women who are thriving in their sectors, this shouldn't be a problem. We should learn to show up the same everywhere. So the third thing I'm going to talk about is courage. So it is very easy for you to get clarity, and to be consistent. But if you do not have the courage to put yourself out there, then whatever thing that you have put together is just there. So you don't find your voice by staying quiet. You need to speak out. You need to put yourself out there. You need to own your space. You need to let people know that this is what you do. You need to tell your own story in your own voice, the way people will understand it. You need to do something unique, do something that will make people know that, okay, yes, this is you. Don't be timid. Always be there, always be out there showing your skills and your competence. And we will get a lot of backlash when we do all these things, but don't be discouraged, because it's not building a personal brand is not an easy thing, I must say, but you need that courage. Because I understand that this is the pillar most women struggle with. I struggled with it when I started. And in fact, I'm still struggling with it, because there are times when I might miss out on my timelines or on things I'm expected to do. But when you have that courage, you always find your feet somehow. You always find your feet somehow. And now, because we don't really have a lot of time. Yeah. Nalu, you want to say something, please?
Yes, I messaged you privately to tell you that we have 8 minutes left, and now it's 7 minutes, just to remind you,
Okay.
Ma. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll just round up. So, what opens doors for us? Many people, when we talk about things that open doors, many people think that it's just luck. Well, we can say luck is part of it, but sometimes most doors they open, because of relationships, the kind of networks that we have, the people that we know. As in, I know Mommy released the book. She wrote the book recently, Certificate, and the book is everywhere. I have a copy and I have started reading it, and I don't want to. I don't want to tell you what that book is about, but you need to get a copy and you need to read it, because it will change your life. Because I started reading it, and two profiles I've read from the book has totally changed my life and has made me see that I need relationships for doors to be opened for me. Because it's a thing for you to build your brand. It's a thing for you to be in that space, where you can showcase yourself. It's another thing for you to have relationships that you can use to project these things. So relationship matters, your network matters, reputation. You need people who will trust you and recommend you. You need value, you need service. These are things that will open doors for you. I'm trying to rush now. So some of the personal branding mistakes that young people make is, one, they try to impress everyone. You cannot impress anyone. Be yourself. Don't copy other people. Wait until you feel ready. So don't say because someone is doing something, you also want to do it. No, wait till you're ready. Then don't ignore professionalism. Like I said, professionalism is very key when you are building your brand. Then building image without substance. Don't do it. Character and competence must support your visibility at all times. Then I'll also state briefly 5 practical steps that you need to start doing immediately. And the first one is you need to define your strengths. Then you need to improve one key skill, something that you're very good at doing. Then clean up your online presence. So for some of us who have, maybe your social media platforms are filled with some of these activities that is not supposed to be there. So to say, you can quickly, or if you don't want to close that account, you can open a fresh account, use a proper name, be professional about it, and start building your brand, something that represents who you are or what you do. Then learn to document your journey, and then do not forget, you build strategic relationships. So I'm going to be closing now because I don't want to exceed my time. The world does not reward only the world does not only reward talent. Sorry, I put this down. The world does not only reward talent, the world rewards values that can be seen, trusted, and remembered. So you should know that your personal brand is not about becoming famous, it's about you. It's about becoming known for something meaningful. So do not wait for permission as a young woman, as a young person to occupy the space that you're created to fill. Don't shrink your voice, don't hide your gifts, don't hide your talent, and don't estimate the power of consistent excellence. I'm going to finish this by saying that you should own your space, you should build your brand, you should create value, and you should serve people. I hope these little conversations, these little highlights would help one or two persons on this call. Thank you so much for your time. I think I'm going to stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Temilola Ajayi. This was so beautiful. You left us with so many nuggets. The last quote you mentioned, I would have to paraphrase something along the lines of, the world does not reward talent. It rewards people who have value. And so, to just wrap and summarize what our tutor has said, people might know you because you're always talking about something you're good at. What you owe people is to be extremely good at that thing. So get certified in it, take courses, read books, watch movies that highlight these things so that it will not just be all talk and no value. All right. So as you're having that personal brand, be the best at what you can offer. Thank you once again, Temilola Ajayi. That was beautiful. Please, I need to see your clapping emojis to celebrate our speaker. Put it together, put it together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, moving on to our next speaker, who is one of us. He is the brand manager of Women on a Mission. I'll be reading his profile right about now. Mr. Temi Tope Adeyemi, fondly known as Coach Temi, is an accomplished marketing strategist and digital skills advocate with a solid foundation in engineering and technology. A graduate of the University of Ibadan, he brings close to a decade of impactful experience in strategy and marketing, having successfully executed diverse business models across various industries. With a keen understanding of the business landscape across different sectors, Coach Temi has provided marketing and growth strategies to over 35 businesses across 3 continents, significantly boosting visibility, brand positioning, and sales. He is deeply passionate about equipping young people with relevant digital skills and has personally trained hundreds of individuals in this area. He currently serves as the director of X Magic Hub, a marketing and tech company, and X Magic Cleaning Services based in Ibadan. In addition, he is the brand manager for Women on a Mission, a growing women centered brand inspiring transformation and purpose across communities. Also, a director at Excel 360 Plus, a training and development company. Temitope is an active member of Junior Chamber International as he continues to contribute to a global network of young enterprising leaders devoted to community development and ethical leadership. He is joyfully married to the most beautiful and intelligent woman in the world, and he is a proud father to their radiant daughter, Carissa Wuraola Adeyemi. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker, our second speaker, Temitope Adeyemi. Thank you. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Please allow me to share my screen so that we can all follow. Thank you. All right. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Kumbi for giving me this opportunity to speak to one community. I do not take it for granted. Thank you so much for joining Wow, that was a powerful session. Thank you, Tim Lola. Thank you, thank you. If you would ask me, I would just say we should just take questions and be fine. I mean, if you can just do all the things you have said, I believe that we cannot remain the same. Thank you so much for giving us so much value. Thank you so much. Please drop an emoji for Tim Lola. Please drop appreciate. That was a very good one. I need to take time to really appreciate it. So I don't know what to do again. Where do I start from? How do I start? I've said everything on my slide, so what's left? So what I would do is that I'm going to make it very brief, then we can have enough time for question and answer so that we don't repeat each other. So let me start by saying that when I got to know that I was supposed to do this presentation, please at any point in time, if you cannot hear me, please let me know and raise your hand or send me a message. So when I got to know I was supposed to do this, I first of all I delivered this presentation twice. I delivered the first to my wife, then I delivered the second on my YouTube channel. So this presentation is done already. So I would make it as brief as possible. If you probably want to listen to the one I delivered on YouTube, you can always check my YouTube channel. So let me start by saying that please confirm you can also see my screen. I believe you should be able to see it. All right, own your space. Building a personal brand that opens doors. And since Temi has done a good job explaining what personal brand is, giving us the pillars, I'm going to slow down a little and help us to think. And also, okay, I have 20 minutes. Okay, thank you so much for that, Nali. Help us to take in all the things you have said. I might have to reiterate some of those things. What I want to do today is to speak to one person that is probably overwhelmed. You have been doing all you can in your business, but it seems like there's a missing link. It seems like there's something not gelling together, or you feel you have reached your max, or you've done all you can. That one person I want to speak to today. And I hope that I have the right communication to address what we are going through, or we are able to get a place where it becomes like an epiphany for you, or you get the bulb lighting up and you see, okay, I can still put in the little, I can still adjust it, I can still pen down something. Or you think you've done all you can, but the truth is that there's still more. The space where you belong to is not overcrowded. Just feel that maybe you see many people are doing it already, and you feel, why should you even give it a chance? Is that one person I want to speak to today? So let's move very fast. When people need what you do, does your name come to mind? That's my first question. And I don't want us to rush over it because there's nothing new about personal brand. In fact, if you check YouTube, one of the most frequently asked questions is about personal brand. And you can get everything I'm going to say today on just a question on ChatGPT or on YouTube, or I even use ChatGPT to prepare my slides. Though to design it, I use AI to design it, but the idea is very original. But the question is, when people need what you do, does your name come to mind? And I want you to pause and answer the question genuinely. Because personal brand, like Amy said, is not being famous, it's being remembered. It's not about the number of followers you have, it's about how many people remember you when they are making buying decisions. And I'm going to be relating this to business because I know many of us might be into business, some of us work a job, but then we still want to do something for ourselves. So if you are not remembered, you cannot be recommended. And if you are not recommended, it means opportunities are passing you by every single day. And I want to ask us a question. I want one or two people to answer me. If you will, I will be very glad. I was traveling with someone recently, and we are at the airport waiting for to board. And the person called my attention to one guy. He was buying something at the restaurant and he was tagging. And he called my attention. He said, "Why is this guy tagging?" He expected me to laugh, but I said, "It's deeper than just tagging. And this is personal brand." You see, when people tag, or let me even pose this question: why do people tag? Do you have anybody that wants to try? Why do you think people tag? And there's no wrong or right answer. I just need one person to give it a try. Why do guys tag with their trousers under their bum bum? Does anybody want to try? Do I have anyone?
Good evening, coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that some people sag because maybe they fancy it, and some others is just their lifestyle, something that they are used to. They don't want to. That's how they dress. That's just their style.
Okay. Thank you so much. So if you ask me, that's most likely the response I would give. But let me give it in the light of branding. Branding is simply pairing things. Branding is simply pairing what? Pairing things, and I will explain. When Nike wanted to optimize their brand, they paired their brand with two prominent people. One, LeBron James, started in 2003, then again in 2016, made him a um, um, lifetime partnership. Then also Michael Jordan. So when people use Nike products, in their mind, they feel that when people look at them, they are seeing LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Simple. Let's go back to these guys that start. The reason why they start is not really because it's their lifestyle. The reason why they start is because they have seen a celebrity start before. So they want to be seen as those celebrities. So when they start, they feel that when you look at them, you are seeing the celebrity in them, pairing things. So they are trying to pair themselves with those celebrities. So when you see them and you feel, why is this guy starting? In their own mind, they feel, oh, they are seeing Davido, they are seeing Mali. That's what happens in their mind. And it's very, very psychological. Very. When you see people start now, don't blame. If you criticize them, they just look at you and feel you don't understand. So when you now look at them in that light, you need to think about it. Could it be that many of the things we are not even our business? It's not because that's what you have done. It's because you've been sold to. Something has been sold to you. You've seen someone do that before. So you also are now doing it. You feel the people that are seeing you are mirroring the people you have seen in you. Could it be that we are not writing our story? We are living out someone else's story. I want us to pause and think about it very well. Could it be that we have given out our pen and we are living out someone else's life? I will not rush. We just do what we can do. Ms. Femi has done a lot of work already, so we are good. 4 questions I want us to answer. If you can pick up your pen or use your phone, I'll be very, very happy. If this is all I can achieve today, I'm good. This video is already recorded. Number one is, and I don't want you to rush, take your time. I know I have 10 minutes left. Fine. What am I known for? Really, what are you known for? And it is fine you don't know because this is not what you think you are. This is what people know you as. Some of us after this call, you might have to go to your friends and ask them, what do you know me for? Especially some of us that do 2, 3 different things, you'll be shocked that some of them, what they know you for is not what you want to be known for. If people know you as an entrepreneur, that's the beginning of because you should not be known as an entity. You should be known as something specific. The reason why people don't remember to patronize is because they know that you do plenty things. So when they need something specific, you are not the one they will come to. They will go for someone that they are very clear that this guy, what he does is like sell bad. And once I call him, I know that he will have. What are you known for? That's number one question. If you don't have the answer, it's fine. But if you have it, write it out. Just write it out. Number two, what do people call you for? What do people call you for? Now, if you have answer to this, because people should have called you for something before. Maybe they needed help. The funniest part is that it might not be your business that people are calling you for. They might be calling you for something deeper, something connected to your purpose. You might be making cake or selling bags, but people call you for something that is more emotional because that is what they see you as. So what do people call you for? They call you for help, they call you when they are sad, they call you when they need advice. Could it be that your purpose is connected to some of these things? Personal branding. Number three is, what problem do you solve? Have you solved any problem before? Mr. has done a good job, so I'm just here to ask what he has done. What problem do you solve? Have you ever thought about it? This is not about your business. Do you have problems you solved in the past, but because you just once, then you just moved over it? You might need to go back to those things. Sometimes, I've realized that sometimes your business might not give you the kind of money solving problem might give you. You can solve a problem and it will reward you in millions. Meanwhile, your business monthly, maybe monthly might not give you that. How about when you leverage more on those problems you're solving? Then number four is, what appears online when your name is said. Mr. has already talked about social media, so I won't go into that. So I'll leave us with these four questions. If you can't answer them now, please take your screenshots, write them down. You can answer them later. So let me move fast and see how much I can cover before my time is up. First of all, is that visibility comes before opportunity. People can't patronize what they don't know, like I said before. Most businesses have visibility problems before they ever have sales problems. Many of us complain, I need customers, but then have you done all you need to do before complaining about sales? I've realized that the problem is not that we don't know what to do. The problem is that we don't do all we know. I can bet you that on this call, none of us is doing all that we know. Some of us have more capacity than we are doing right now. Some of us have caged ourselves into a busy life such that we are not manifesting. And like the Holy Book said, he said the world is waiting for our manifestation, not our business. Some of us are too busy. We are not manifesting. So the real question is not how many followers, not how good you are. Many people actually know what to do. How many people actually know what to do? How many friends? Have people told you you are doing too much? Have people said it to your face that you are doing too much? If people have not said it to you, then you are not doing enough. People should look at you and tell you your own is too much. If not, you are not writing your story. We are not writing our story anymore. Capacity creates space. We are talking about owning your space. Owning your space, how to be personal brand that opens doors. How do we really open those doors? Number one is that, number two pillar now. Capacity creates space. You cannot have more capacity than the space you occupy. It's not possible. The Holy Book told us a story about a man that wanted to travel and gave three servants. He gave one five, he gave one two, and he gave one one. Why didn't he give all of them the same amount? I believe the man is a very wise man. If he had given all of them the same resource, he would have gotten lower than he got, because the one he gave five multiplied it and got five more. You want to give two, add two more. So why did he give it? He gave them because he already knew their capacity. He knew that no, this person I'm giving one cannot do so much with it. Some of us, the reason why we are staying in the same space is because we are not building capacity. And sometimes we overrate how much we know. Recently I was I began to get scared because the more I learn, the more I read, I realize that there is so much to know that I know. Reading three, four books in a month, and I'm realizing that wait, so there's a need for more knowledge. Watching maybe 1 hour, 2 hours YouTube video per day, and I realized that so I lack this amount of knowledge. Can I say that if if we don't have a routine for learning, we are dying unconsciously. If there's no routine for learning, that you know that every day there's something you do to learn. Maybe you read 10 pages, 50 pages, 100 pages, we are dying unconsciously because over time you now see that when you talk, you sound the same like almost everybody. There's no uniqueness. When you talk, you don't challenge anybody. And when we have unique purposes to challenge people, no matter who is in the room, we should challenge people. So let's move to the next one. I'll round up from value makes room for you. Now I want to spend a little time here, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, because I've realized recently that we also overrate how valuable we are. It is certain people at the back to tell them, oh, I know you are very valuable, but then we have not proven our value. And how do we prove our value? Sometimes we need to do free stuff just to prove our value. Just to prove maybe the reason why we are still stuck is because we thought we were so valuable, but then we were not as valuable as needed. In 21st century, there are so many things that will not fit the box. Before, back in those days, I know that people pay to volunteer. People literally pay their transport, pay their hotel to just volunteer for an event. But now you beg people to volunteer. The same people complain that there are no jobs. Sometimes the way to get the best job is to volunteer for the job. Nobody leaves a valuable person. You cannot find someone that is valuable and you allow the person to go. It's not possible. Personally, some of the best rewarding maybe jobs or gigs I've gotten came from just doing it for free. And the person thought, oh, okay, this guy, let's do something together. Let's have something, together. However, I've done some work that I regretted. I just knew that around of things, the next 30 seconds, I've done some jobs that I knew that, because there was I think 6 or 5 years ago, someone gave me a marketing job. I've always complained that people don't pay for, people have ideas, but they don't market. So this woman called me and said, I'm ready to drop money. Market, I was working with a student managing a social media platform and digital marketing. So she gave me money, but I could not finish the money on marketing because I didn't know what to do. I tried everything I knew. So I had to just apologize to her. On her birthday, I did a big frame for her. I said, "Please just manage it. Thank you for the opportunity." They started. Simple. So I'll stop here because of time. How valuable are we? Let me just go to the last slide. The future is waiting for a stronger, wiser, and more visible, more valuable version of you. What we are looking for is also looking for us, but not this version of us. There is a higher calling. There is more. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Coach Temi. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for Coach Temi. Please put your hands together for him. I can't see your emojis. Thank you. Thank you. The future. Oh, he turned it off. I was going to read from that. But did you notice something? What he's saying and what our other speaker, Temi, said, it's all about value, guys. It's all about value. As you're building your personal brand, make sure you can give people what? Value. That's the core and crux of it all. So let's quickly take questions so that we can leave here by at most 7:25 p.m. If you have a question, please signify in the chat, so I'll call on you to ask your questions. We can only take 2 to 3 questions, depending on how many persons that raise their hands. So please, let's go. Question time. Whilst you're preparing your questions, it's just important to add that building a personal brand is very important. You know, some people, we know you sell hair, we know you do chin, we know you do project management, we know you do so many things. And I think that's okay because of how Nigeria is. You cannot say you're doing one thing, because if you're doing just one thing, you may not survive it because you need all the money you can get. But in whatever it is you're doing, are you giving people value? That is the question. That is the question. Are you giving people value? So please, if you didn't learn anything today, I hope you leave with the fact that you have to give people value. It seems nobody has a question. It seems nobody has a question that today's class and conversation was well understood. I think so too. It was well understood. Points was made. Points were taken. Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much to our speakers, Mr.
Nalu, my hands
Temitope.
are raised. Hi, Nalu, my hands are
I
raised.
was saying they should signify in the chat not to raise their hand, but now you've mentioned, please ask your question, Blessing.
Oh, sorry. Mine is not a question because I understood everything from the first and the second speaker. Mine is an addition to what both of them just said. And I think everything they just said today is solely for me, mainly. I do so many things. I'm into agricultural sales of farm implement and the rest. And even mommy was surprised when I saw her. I met her in Abuja, and she was like, "Oh, Blessing, you sell tractors," and she was shocked. And that's because I never really advertised myself. I did not have a personal brand to show that this is what I do. I'm also into events and decoration, and I do them low key and earn what I can earn, and then just. But now I have 2026. I think that is the goal. We started earlier with Chioma as my accountability partner, while we discuss on how to grow and brand ourselves. But this message just got to me, and I think I have to stop procrastinating and stop dragging my feet and start working. Thank you, Coach Temi, and thank you, Mrs. Temi, for this charge.
Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much for that. Do we have any other person with a question this time around? Any other person with a question? In the absence of any question,
I don't have a question. I only have a
I
contribution.
tell you, should put your name in the chat box. What's in the apple?
I'm sorry, it's not a question.
Now,
That's
wow,
why
ask your question, ma.
it's not a question. Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you.
All right, it's not a question. I just wanted to state something. When Miss Temi was talking about building a personal brand around the things you do, building a personal brand aside from the things you do, I recently started working on my Facebook page again because I've not been able to access my LinkedIn for a while. And since I'm still very active on Facebook, I started doing that on Facebook, and I have grown. It now leads me to reading every day because I want to talk about something, I need to know more about it. So that's what I want to contribute. When you build a personal brand, you grow. Aside maybe the following or the followership and all of that, it just brings out a different perspective. It makes you study more and it makes you brighter. And then I've got more followers than I even thought or ever imagined, right, since I started doing that. And so that's all I thought to put out here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Violet. Thank you for that. Do we have any other question? Okay. I will take that as a no, that we do not have any other question. And I hope that every one of us is going home with value, enough of it, as in the value in quantum today. I have been a preacher of personal branding for the longest of times, but I like to think that listening to Mr. Temitope Adeyemi and Miss Temilola Ajayi has also restructured all that I know about it, because it's not just about building the brand. How valuable are you with the brand you're building? How good are you at that thing? That is the core of everything. So, once again, thank you to our speakers today. Thank you so much for availing yourselves to give us value. We don't take it for granted. We say thank you so much and see you next time, next month, on our conversation series. Good evening, ladies, and good night. Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining, and wish you a beautiful and blessed week ahead. God bless.